Good evening, Jace.
Good evening, Shawn.
How is it going tonight?
Oh, it's going well.
Excellent. What do you got on the table tonight?
I am about to break out some of the most newly hated sprues since the time of the B1, and
Oh,
that would be the
pikes.
pikes.
Yeah, fair
Yep.
enough. Nice. Just wait till you get to those faces. It'll be fantastic. So, um,
Yeah, I'm looking and I'm like, why? Well,
okay, well, we'll set the clock. We'll keep it probably about a 90-minute episode tonight, and we'll see how many Jace accomplishes to get done in that time. We'll keep him busy talking, so he'll probably get less done than if it was a straight 90 minutes, but we'll see. We'll
yeah.
see. And we'll see the frustration set, which will be subsequently be a topic for Roundtable when we get there. So, if you guys didn't catch it in the intro, well, I mean, that's one of the things that we're going to talk about tonight, but we're going to talk a little bit about the League 5 launch. That happened last episode, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about that in case you missed it, give you an update on where we are right now. So that is happening. We also want to talk about episode 137, better known as episode 200. So we want to thank people. Tonight technically is episode
Woo!
200, both with our Friday night fights being at 63 episodes, as well as the podcast being at episode 137. So it is 200. That'll be fantastic. Maybe we'll match the donation total maybe tonight with 200. We'll shoot for that and see how we do. But technically, what we're talking about tonight is Legion and coming back to Legion, and we have a special guest with us tonight. In the form of Christopher Zenga. He's a longtime Legion Academy follower, and here he is on the 200th episode, going to join us tonight to talk about rejoining the game. He's in one of our group chats, several of our group chats, and we've just been kind of following in the last week or so as he's coming back in, asking questions about Legion and assembling models, sharing Pike frustrations, all those great things. And it's fun and rejuvenating to have somebody come back in and sort of ask those things that maybe some of those questions that you don't really have come up that frequently, or talk about those topics that maybe you haven't talked about for some time. So we do like that a lot. So we'll give the shout outs here as people trickle in. I know we're a bit early tonight, so if it's surprising you, that's just because we wanted to accommodate for Chris in the Eastern time zone. And apologies if you missed us or come in halfway through because you're used to the regular time, but we'll make it up to you in episode 200 here. So shout outs to Stan, Canadian Bear, Tom, Frizzle Dizzle. We got Jake Witt checking in, Bernard checking in from Ottawa, Anthony checking in, Chronic Canuck. We got Jeff M checking in, and thank you, Jeff, and several of you for the congrats on 200. We do greatly appreciate that. We're going to jump over. We're going to get Chris in fairly quickly here so he doesn't have to sit in the wings waiting by. But as you guys know, we talked about last week in Legion. We'll bring Chris in for that. We'll talk about the early round 5 league report, just games. I think there's a few games being played at this very moment. 2 are in my pod. So I am eager to see how those folks do. I know my pod has been off to like a rampant start. They're like gaming every night. I have played no games with my pod members, but I did play a game last night. I'll talk about that. Um, just a practice game and a player who was looking to get some reps in on TTS, and I said, sure, why not? We'll talk a little about the very small bit of AMG news that we have right now. Not that they have owed us any news. They kind of gave us it's kind of like that garden hose theory, right? When you pinch that, all of it comes out at once and then just trickles down. And that's kind of how it comes out for Legion. I think X-Wing's getting some big news right now. So, and then just talking about returning to Legion, we'll specifically talk about that, and we'll save some of those topics for the roundtable as well. But we'll let Chris have a little bit of a soapbox to jump on, and he can tell us the tale and where he's been and what he's been up to, and then we'll open it up for you guys as we have whatever time left on the clock when we do that. So Anthony said he's working on bases for his pikes today, and the Shadow Collective models are great. I agree, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. All right. Well, let's just, Jace, I guess you
They
and
are
I
good.
don't really need to. Well, maybe we should just jump over here real quick. So, maybe what we'll do, if Chris is cool with it, we'll do a preamble on a couple things, just the social media stuff. We'll bring Chris in. We'll talk about our last week in Legion. Then we'll hit the Patreon update because I know Chris was able to. He was asking me some questions about that, so we'll consume that. We'll go to the Patreon perks. We'll get in through some sponsors. We'll thank the donators. Then we'll cycle back to what Chris has been up to. Then we'll hit the news. Then we'll talk a little bit about swoop bikes. We'll talk about the league, and then we'll end with roundtables. Does that sound like a show? That sounds like a 200 episode to me. That sounds like a lot of things. So,
Oh yeah,
Beauty.
sounds
can
like
we
a
see the
great
Legion
200.
spoiler outer rim terrain pack? I did not. I seen somebody talking about a little bit about preview stuff coming up. Yeah, shop links. That's exactly what I saw. So yeah, there's not much on there, so we won't speculate too hard on that. So, all right, without further ado, let's jump over real quick, Jace. Let's maybe you can hit the people with the social medias if they haven't found us. How to find us?
You bet. So obviously you are watching us on the Terrain Studio YouTube channel, but you can also check us out on Instagram and Twitter at Legion_FNF, on Facebook at Star Wars Legion Friday Night Fights, and as Sean's going to go into a little bit later, at the Terrain Studio on Patreon.com. Yeah, we have done some special giveaways on some of these platforms before, so make sure to give us a follow.
Yeah, like 30, like a week ago. So, or 2 weeks ago when
Yeah.
Michael was here. So yeah, quite a few. All right, well, let's jump over. Let's bring our friend Chris in. Chris, you're all set to come in?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thanks,
Well,
guys.
I anticipated he would be, so here he is. Awesome. Let us know if everything is coming through loud and clear for you guys. There's Chris. Welcome, Chris. You're between Jace and I, so you are well supervised, which is good. We always like to put our guests in the middle, so they don't get too rowdy. So Patrick coming in from Belgium, welcome. So hey, Chris,
Which is important for me. I know you want to
yeah.
supervise me.
Well, welcome back to the show. We're gonna put you on the spot straight away, so you can kick off our first segment, which is always last week in Legion. So why don't you tell us about your last week in Legion, and then we'll come back and you can give us your full journey to returning to the game a little bit later on.
Oh, Pike faces. Pike faces, man. That was my last week in Legion, those faces. Honestly, it's not. They were bad at first because I got big, clumsy hands and I hadn't built in a while, so they felt a bit clumsy. But they're nowhere near as bad as the droids. Once you get into it, which I'm sure Jace will figure out that they're a bit tricky, but nowhere near as bad. I feel like a lot of there's a new sprues now kind of feel like the old original stuff where there was no sprues at all. Everything kind of snaps together. There's not a lot of fiddly bits. So I decided to jump right back in and build the whole syndicate from that new expansion. And I built the second dewback that I just had on my shelf forever in a box. And I thought, okay, if I'm going to get back into it, maybe I'll get back into something clunkier, bigger to paint, less detail, maybe just kind of just wade through the murky waters of miniature painting. So my last week was a dewback. I built all the syndicate, and now I'm starting to paint the Black Sun a little bit.
Nice. What do you think of the heft of those Black Sun models? Are pretty beefy, eh?
This is again for me. I've as I get older, dexterity goes, eyesight goes, and it's a lot harder for me to do the smaller fiddly bits on models, like the spines on the back of the Black Sun, little things like that. But I like a nice kind of, lack of a better analogy, Space Marine maybe,
Yep.
type model where it's a little beefier, a little thicker, a little more room to grab onto, and a little less margin for error maybe. So I do like them as far as an aesthetic and ease of decoration for me.
Yep. Yeah, they're really cool. I was pretty impressed with the size of them when I started building mine. So I still got a few boxes to go here. So a little powered through quite a few boxes, about 70 boxes worth of models in the month of July. So I slowed down here in August because I amped up on building physical terrain. But yeah, no, I can hear you. I do appreciate the size of those models, and I'm looking forward to painting all my Shadow Collective actually. So Jace, what do you got going on? I know you're building pikes tonight, but what was your week like in Legion?
Unfortunately did not get much done. I didn't even get to get a Friday Night Fights game in, which is
did.
my usual week in Legion. I know. It was all my fault. I was away camping. So there was not much Legion to be had in the great outdoors. But all I will say is that it looked like Endor, but felt like Tatooine out there.
Okay, fair enough. Gotcha. Looked like Endor, felt like Tatooine. All right.
Yeah.
Got it. Perfect. It's a good analogy. Yeah. So when the world gets like Tatooine, I just remain in the deep colds of space here. So I surround myself with almost no natural light and just build a cold looking terrain. So that makes me feel cool. So
See, that's what I wanted to do, but my family wouldn't let me.
that's fair. Well, just tell them that you make the rules now. I'm in control now.
I make the rules.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
fine. Just pull a little Cad Bane,
There
you'll be
we go.
fine. So,
Oh, yeah.
well, that's good. My week in Legion. Let's see here. I didn't do any building of Legion models. I worked a little bit on some Legion swag, some artwork, and designing that. I worked a lot in the studio. I'll talk a little bit more about that. I'm really trying to wrap up this wall here before September. That's my kind of goal. If I can finish it by end August, early September, so I can shift gears into other things. But I've been really antsy to get to painting some droids. So I've been resisting that because it's really hard for me to switch the studio from build to paint and back. As meanwhile maintaining the electronics and trying not to get too much dust and debris on them. So it's a fine balance here in the studio. But my week in Legion was pretty much working on the wall, and then I did manage to. I watched a couple games of Legion this week, so shout outs to my my pod. I call them the Gesundheit pod. It's however you pronounce the Achu planet, as it sounds. But they are busy. I think 2 games happening in my pod currently. I don't have any updates on them, but that's happening. And then last night I played a game against Shadow Scout Paul. He asked for a game. I obliged him with a game. I feel like today he likes Legion less because I kind of gave him a bit of a work and over last night. It was no fault of my own. Stan can attest because he was there. Anthony as well. The dice roller just cooperated 100% with me and just rolled crits basically. So I heard that's the winning strategy.
Wow.
So it was there was a lot of crits last night. So I felt bad because he had never played against droids. And I said, like, I've played droids like over 200 games, like 150 with one list alone. So I was like, well, you'll know how droids work after tonight. And he did. He really likes and hates Magna Guard, which I think is pretty much the MO of Magna Guard.
Yep.
Thought PK droids healing robots back was cool. Experienced the power that is B1s when they want to amass crits. So it was all good. It was a fun game. He said he enjoyed it. We talked strategy afterwards, so it wasn't just me kind of beating up on him a little bit. And I did walk Boba Fett off before he got to activate the second time. So that was a bit of a bully move, I guess. I think as somebody has put in the Discords last night. So I embraced the title. I told him he's well in his right to complain about my dice. So that was my last week in Legion. That was actually last night in Legion, but that technically qualifies. So yeah,
Wow.
just
Wow.
do my best to introduce new players to the game. So
I'm not sure the last time I actually saw a crit, for being honest.
well, you should just come watch some Discord games.
Yeah. What are these magical things you speak of?
No,
Yeah.
no, I've got the roll curse, man. I can't roll to save my life. I gotta tune in a little more often to see these snuffleupaguses or unicorns that are critical hits.
Yep. No, there was a lot rolled last night. So so that was last week in Legion. Why don't I if you guys are okay and will oblige me, I'll just continue on to a little bit of last week in Legion and jump over no, I don't share crits, Brendan. That's not a thing. So my 4th grade report card clearly read does not play well with others, and I have lived up to that ever since. So so not playing well with others. I was obligingly and did share some content this week. It was via the Patreon channel, but it was available to the public. So that was on the 14th. If you missed that, it's available to the public, so you can go find that. It was just a little bit of a hobby hangout. So I was on there building stuff for the studio. This is just evidence mostly that I do paint on occasion. So I built these last week, and then I painted them up just before the hobby stream. These actually took about 40 minutes to paint, all of them, start to finish. So the process is rather quick. No paintbrushes were used in the creation of these. This is all done with sponge and cloth as my preferred painting medium. And these are just some wall adornments for the wall itself. So I talked a little bit in the video about a lot of things actually. The racks, the little vents that I'm making, some of the additional pieces that are going on the wall. The acrylics getting cut for the wall right now. I'm working on some trim pieces, and then I got to do the overall weathering of the wall. So Chris was asking earlier in the show, he was wondering if I had taken down the wall and replaced it with this one, and I just told him that this is one wall on one side of the studio and the other wall is on the other side of the studio. So effectively the studio has 3 walls, and all 3 now are covered, and probably I would say walls, we're probably looking at about 30 feet worth of wall coverage now in foam, which is fun. Wow. So just a 1-to-1 scale. It's just a fun little thing. So, and I talked about the Gonk droid that's going to be upcoming on the Patreon, as well as some more of the cargo crates. So a whole bunch of things are happening. If you want to check it out, it's there. You guys can go check it out at the Train Studio, www.patreon.com/the Train Studio. So you guys can go check that out. And like I said, this was a free video that's up there for everyone to consume. So that was what's going on there. Jumping over here real quickly, I want to just draw attention to this, the fact that we do still have some of the tier 3 Patreon perks open. So all of the folks that were on tier 3 for July, August, all have their sleeves mailed out. I saw that Tom Walker was receiving his. I believe Stan's got his. Brendan, I'm just noticing people in chat here. Bernard, he has his. Anthony's got his. Let me know. Canadian Bear's got his. Just give me shouts if you are in chat and you got your stuff. But there is 14 spots left. So if you join in August, September, there is still 14 spots. They can't, you'll know for sure because there's only a limited number of spots. So if you want to get the card sleeves, like I said, they're here. They're limited edition. Like I said, we only got the 50 sets. We'll give the 50 sets away to the patrons and or giveaways. But if you want to secure those spots, there is Richard. There he is. So Richard got his sleeves. Chronic Canucks got his. So people are getting them, and we appreciate their patronage. And as a result, we have these small perks for them, which is great. I'll jump over here real quick. Like I said, we would like to thank both the donators for the new camera that we're working towards, as well as the patrons. They're all listed there. The perks aren't always happening, but when we have them, we like to give them out for you guys. My wife is working on right now doing up some Friday Night Fight stickers, because people are always asking us for stickers. I thought only like young children like stickers. Turns out everybody likes stickers. And so my wife is working on a way to get some Friday Night Fights branded stickers done up, and we'll do that for patrons, and we'll probably make that for all levels of the Patreon. Just we'll up the number as we go up the tier. So just big shout outs to the folks that are on there. Like I said, we're going to try to hit a small donation goal tonight. So if you want to help us out with the 200 episode, you want to make a donation, you guys can definitely do that. We do appreciate that. It's not mandatory, but if you do, it's the trainstudio2019@gmail.com. We'll slow crawl to our way to this PTZ camera. You guys got us off a really big kickstart, so we're 20% of the way already. I want to thank Bernard, Sean, JD, Stan, Graham, Todd, Richard, Jake, and Ryan. And Ryan for the donations, and of course the Patreon folks are also helping us along the way. They cover off the eCam bills, the internet bills, all that great fun stuff that allow us to do the 200 episodes. Chris is putting in the point. You guys do a lot of stuff for free, and yes, we put in the time for free, but we do have people that help us make sure that it doesn't cost us money to do the fun things that we like to do. As well, we want to thank our sponsors: Back to Basics, Deep Cut Studio, Gamers Crash, Legion Terrain, and Bryant at Phoenix Games in Australia. Todd, you are only slightly late, but we'll forgive you this time. Todd has also been a big recipient of many prizes here in the last little bit. So, and last but not least, with the promotion stuff that's going on, Chris, I got you on this screen here only because Chris was catching up and he had not seen these yet. But yeah, I'll just let you guys know that I did reach out to BNR Poker about the chips, and so I'm just waiting some confirmation back from them about costs and et cetera, and how we can make this happen. But I wanted to I put a little promo video together just to show you guys what I'm anticipating the sets to look like. So we'll have a look at that. Just oblige me 1 minute of your time. All right, guys, there it is. I will address a couple questions here, and if you guys got more, put them in the comments. So some people asked about upping the heavies to have more for the incoming Dark Troopers. I think there's a fine balance. So if you'll notice in there, I'm anticipating going up to the 8 core and adding in the additional operatives. I'm a little bit hesitant to go any larger than that, and the reason being is that they're not super cheap tokens, and so what I'm probably going to end up doing is doing a single Patreon tier where you can join for the 1 month at that, and it's going to cover off the cost of the tokens as well as the shipping. But I have to find the balance between the shipping weight so that I can do it so everyone can end up getting them on the Patreon. So I have to account for both domestic and international, as well as I have to make sure that I don't exceed certain package weights. So while I'd love to accommodate everyone, I think at whatever number of tokens that is, it's a pretty big number already. If I can find a way to make them in there or include 2 blank ones, potentially I could do that. Or maybe I drop the core and keep it at the 6 and put the heavies to 4 if that becomes a bit more of a reasonable option. But we'll look at all the reasonable options to do for people. The idea being that it's a Patreon perk. It is not an item for sale, so I have to balance that out. We don't maintain a store, so trying to do the best I can. I'm not trying to be run a store at all, and so designing them and doing all the communicating around them and then getting them out is just all logistics time that takes time away from all the other things. And as you guys know, we're stacked up pretty deep with podcasts, Friday Night Fights, building, Patreon videos, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So do my best, but do appreciate the input from all you guys. So what do you think, Chris, as a casual observer of things? Would that be something that you'd like to see on your gaming table?
Yeah, absolutely. I love when we get premium products that we can use in game. For a long time there, we were playing with like those 3D printed markers for I don't know what they're called. They're like hologram. They look like holograms, and
Like the silhouettes?
it's yeah, the silhouettes. It's always nice to have like a premium item that's being used on the table every day, and having these order tokens as nice as those. I'm so down with getting a set of those. 100%. Like I would join that tier for sure to get my hands on something like that so I could put it on my table here. Absolutely.
Yeah, I kind of wanted. I was thinking, with Shadow Collective, and we kind of got that particular Sith character, and we've kind of done our tokens up with a little bit of a flavor of some sort of unit in the game. So initially we went with the LA colors, and then we wanted to go a little rebel theme, so we did our favorite Beep Boop, or maybe not everyone's favorite Beep Boop, but I thought this one was really cool. Our colors are obviously the black and the red, and they're kind of dark, and so I thought that translated pretty well to a token. So I'm excited. Looking forward to getting the information back so that I can work on that as the next tier. So we've done card sleeves twice now, which is great, and they've been well received. And then the tokens are kind of next up for us. So yeah, Tom pointing out 28 tokens. That's exactly it, Tom. So quite a few tokens to put in a bag, and making sure that if people get a set, I want them to be I want them to feel like they're getting great value out of that, even though, like I said, those tokens run like on the retail side around I won't full transparent around like $1.60 a token. So you can translate that out, and obviously they go down a little bit, but as you get quantity, but then you have to account for shipping and all that stuff. So I don't anticipate it'll be too cheap, but I think if you have our tokens before, you know the quality. I have multiple sets from them. The weight is great. Jace can attest. I mean, everyone here in the studio has those sets. So we think they're fantastic. The weight is great.
I would like to propose, if I may, that maybe one or two out of all of them gets the kid autographed on one of the chips,
okay,
and you get it's a mystery autographed chip. Yeah, Jace. How do you feel about that?
We'll get Jace to.
Oh yeah.
The weird thing is, I don't know if crayon translates.
I'll sign like a random selection.
Yeah, I don't know how well they sign in crayon though, so that's that'll be awkward. But yeah, we'll see if we can lend him some of Zuri's markers or something like that. So
that's great, fantastic.
Yeah. So yeah, that's upcoming. So I know people have been asking. That is happening. I haven't put the Patreon poll up. I was supposed to do that. I will put that up once I get the information back. I was anticipating getting the information back before I did the poll, and I don't want to do it until I have information, because I don't want people to commit or say they're interested in something and then see a price or be like, no, I'm not that interested now, because like I said, it's going to be something that I order as a perk for people. And I'm not doing any pre-orders or anything like that. So, okay, well, we've got that all covered off. Well, Chris, why don't we talk a little bit about, now that we're about 30 minutes in here, why don't we just, Jason and I can take a little bit of a back seat. If you want to share some stories, I think kick off because I think this is interesting. It'll kind of kick off the full loop. You talked a little bit about, I remember when I started into this game, and then you were surprised at episode 200. And then why don't you take us through that a little bit, and then why don't you talk a little bit about what got you back in here in the last couple of weeks, and what's kind of got you fired up a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I think if I'm getting my dates wrong, and you guys can call it out in the chat. I'm not promising you I'm going to have the chronology correct with all the dates, but I'll do my best. I feel like I remember it was probably Gen Con when we learned that Legion was going to be a thing, and kind of what we were going to get out of it. I remember very early on we got an idea of having to build our own terrain, and I had my Tatooine terrain built months and months and months before there's even a game. I invested into, mats and foam and all the things I've never had before. I've never built terrain ever. I didn't even know if the game was going to be any good. And I was so sold on that presentation at again, as Gen Con or Adepticon, whatever the event was. And I built the terrain. I connected with a lot of people who were also doing terrain, and I kind of slowly started to realize there was a larger, kind of broader community out there that revolved around this type of art, this type of medium. And when we were sitting here and the 200 flashed across the screen, it really took me by surprise, because I remember pre-ordering at a store here in Toronto called 401 Games. I pre-ordered the day I was able to do it, and I woke up in the morning. I drove down there on launch day. I was waiting outside the door before the doors even opened, because I knew I was going to get my hands on 2 core kits and every expansion. I got like 5 ATRTs, and I got 5 speeder bikes, and I just bought everything because I didn't even know, like, you couldn't use like 5 heavies in a game or whatever. I just bought everything because I wanted to paint it and put it on the table, and like I was there with everyone on day one. We joined the Facebook group together. I met you so soon after that. I did your first run of Train Studio merch for you. We started to kind of grow the community, and a lot of these people became friends. We have a private chat group going still to this day with these people, and it was really cool to see that all this time had passed. And I remember the moment when we didn't even know what we were getting our hands on. We had no idea, but we knew it was Star Wars. We knew we just wanted something like this in that universe, and we were so I want to say we were just eager to make it work. All of us, we were going to buy in. We were going to do it, and then you guys took it to the next level. You started the channel, and you just kind of really put all this love and Star Wars passion into this game and into this community. And here we are, 200 episodes later from the very first day that we ever said the word Star Wars Legion on a YouTube, live cast. And I think I was on like your second or third or fourth episode. Like it was mental. It's mental to me what we were talking about back then. We were talking about, how cool, a whole wave of naked stormtroopers are, and how many minis we've seen now since naked stormtroopers. Like, look at what we've had our hands on. And I know there's a lot of, you get that complaining in the community. Oh, release more, spoil more, give us more. I want more. But just if you stop and look back 199 episodes to what we didn't have, to where we are now. Like, we've got so much to be happy about and so much to love, and so, we've been really lucky that we can kind of keep this sustained as long as we have. And it's just awesome that we're here. The three of us are here with all the people who've been here from the very beginning. Paul, Bob, everybody in our group, Ben, just people that were there from the beginning. It's awesome. I love it. I'm happy to be part of this group and have made friends of you guys. It's really cool.
I was just chit-chatting with I don't know who I was talking to yesterday about, and they were asking me about like when did Friday night? Oh, maybe it was Shadow Scout. He was asking me, he's like, when did Friday Night Fights start, and what did when did we get going with that? I'm just grabbing this right now because this is kind of an impromptu, but let me just have a small embarrassing moment here for one second. As Chris is talking about the nostalgia of this, let me pop up for you real quick on the screen. Let me pop up an overlay from Friday Night Fights 1. I'll put it full screen here for just a second.
Year one.
Look how poor this is. Like what amateur hour was that? Which is
what
super,
is this?
Yeah,
Yeah, but
super
listen, you can't move the line backwards. You don't look at Blu-ray and say, look at VHS and Beta. Well, that's what we had back then. You can't look back and say it could have been better, because like it's Bush League now compared to what you've done, but it wasn't Bush League then. No one was doing that then. Right?
Let me throw up our Alex Davey episode. Like look at the overlay differences. Like there's Joe and I rocking. Like look at the poor backdrop that I had. Like, oh geez, that was the day. I was still up in my upper office when my studio was like small, and then I got into this like need to expand, and yeah, that's just funny. And then moving, okay, here's a quick shot, just grabbing these on the fly, by the way. Okay, here's a funny one. Here's from episode, so I started getting maybe slightly better, but here's episode 50. I don't know what so here's a funny one. So this is Joe and I rocking. So slightly better studio. We look like we're in the witness protection program. I think this is actually I think Joe had just had his eye surgery here, and so I was saying like, well, I don't want it to be strange, so let me wear glasses too. And then of course Ben always has glasses, so it's just he always looks different than us. But yeah, just that was episode 50, by the way. So 150 episodes later, we're looking slightly better.
Wow.
Not looking better. I mean, we looked really cool there, but yeah, that's where we've come, kind of thing, in the last 150 episodes. So, and we got everyone to thank, Chris and Jace included. But yeah,
we're definitely more grizzled now than we were back then, but our backdrops are way more badass. So it's a trade-off, I think.
Yeah, let me grab one more because I just found
I will say there's one thing that hasn't changed through any of those 4 pictures, and that is Shawn's haircut.
My hair. Well, speaking. Okay. Well,
I was gonna say.
So I'm in need of a haircut because I always get one right before school. But since Jace has obligingly said that, and we're having a little bit of a trip down nostalgia lane here. There's an episode looking fresh right there. Do say so myself.
Wow, look at that fade, Jesus.
Yeah, that's Kate, and that's money. And then have a look at this right here, just so if you guys are curious and think Jace hasn't been with us for a while. Look at this baby face right there. So this is pre-marriage Jace. So there he is. This was when he wasn't even known as the
Dude,
kid.
you could put that photo next to his. You put that photo next to his live shot. Now you'd never
I
know
was known
he's
as
even
the
aged a day.
baby.
Look at that kid. He's not
Yeah.
aged a day.
No, it hasn't aged today. And see, I got the fade, but I'm not as fresh right now. So but there you go. So that's where we've been at. So,
Wow.
but we want to thank everyone in chat and like Chris and Jace and Joe and Ben and Paul and all the people and the new guys Bryant, who have come on in the more recent times, and Michael and of course Anthony for all that time. So, and you guys have helped us, right? So we know that a pile of donations have happened for us, and where have we got? The evolution of the show has been in part to our work, but has been largely supported by the community. And so, having the ability to up our equipment. So we're not on the cell phones anymore. We're on, different cameras. We're on slightly better microphones and soundboards and multiple cameras and all those fun things. So we have as much to thank for the people who've been on the show as we do for people who watch and support the show. So that's episode 200. So Chris, that was fantastic. I appreciate the walk down memory lane and just prompted me to go grab those really, really poor photos that are our earlier episodes. So since we're briefly on it, this is all impromptu, but if you guys will just bear with me for 1 second. Somebody had asked me about making videos and when I started and all that stuff. So if you go to the Terrain Studio channel and you were to go find videos, I'm gonna go
Like the chic trees. Don't show the trees, man.
No, I'm not. I'm going deeper into the well than the trees existed. But let me go way back when. So long ago, maybe, and this is not something I plan to cover, but maybe you guys don't know, but I did a lot of 15 millimeter terrain. That was kind of where I got my start. And I started in my wife's parents' basement is where my first studio was. And I had a ton of fun working in that space. And I made my first YouTube video on terrain 13 years ago now. Actually, 13 years ago, December 13th, 2008.
Wow.
And it looks like this. This was the first camera angle. I was me sitting there. You'll notice something haven't changed. You guys see that teacup right there? I still am always rocking a beverage of some kind when I'm working. Usually it's tea, and in fact, my teacup is right here. So I never get far from that. So some things don't change, and some things get a lot better. But me sitting here rocking, I'm wearing one of my favorite Adidas sweaters ever. And just working on terrain, and that's where I got the start. So while this is episode 200, it is not even close to my 200th video. In fact, I think I have maybe 600 videos total between all the channels at this point. So I've been sitting here for a long time. Well, it's not to praise myself. I just when going down that trip down memory lane, I just ended up stumbling across that first video that I made so long ago. Just saying, wow. I'm really glad that I'm not doing videos like that anymore. So not that they are exceptionally better, but they're modest improvements. So average improvements. So
a slight upgrade, just slightly.
Yeah, that back then, I don't even know what kind of phone I was filming on at that point. I think I might have even been using like some sort of early production camera that had video capability, because I think my first video was about 4 minutes long to just stop mid-sentence and then went to part 2. So I probably was tethered by uploading file size at that point. So pretty funny. Back then 480 was HD. Absolutely. That was max resolution for that camera by a long shot. So well, why don't you talk to us about, Chris, now that we've gone down that memory lane trip, about coming back into the game. So what was the catalyst for you suddenly assembling Pikes and Black Suns last week?
You know what? There are three key moments I want to say in the last. We'll say the last year that I think brought me back. Is the first one was, even though I wasn't really playing and building as much as I would have liked to, I was still part of our private chat group. So not even the Discord. So I was still part of listening to what was going on, um, hearing what you guys were doing, still keeping my finger on the pulse, right? And just knowing you guys were still there doing your thing, I felt like I was still part of the community. I wasn't as vocal or frequent on the Facebook, community as I was when we all started, but I felt like if at least I kept tabs on what you guys were doing, I felt connected. The second thing was Adepticon was actually when Jay Shalansky, who's been a buddy of mine for a long time, started um, just shouting out everybody in the community, talking about how it took you and the Terrain Studio, and he talked about his guys, the Scoundrels and the Fifth Trooper, and he talked about everybody that's been helping him, and this went on for almost all of Adepticon. He kept bringing up, hey, if you want to get more into this, there are some great guys over here doing this, and great guys over here doing this, and I watched the entire live stream. I was commenting lot, a lot on that live stream, and it just felt like, you know, it, he kind of brought everyone together in that live stream, calling out everybody who was making some kind of contribution, whether it's just you being a fan, you commenting in the chat group, or like you guys creating content yourselves. And I thought, wow, like this is what the community is. It's everybody here together playing this game, making this giant event happen, being part of something awesome. And the final kind of spur on the dewback's ass, if you will, was my buddy Tim, who I got him into painting minis, and he ended up starting painting more than I was painting. And he came over one day with his kids just for a visit, and he saw the dewback, and he's like, uh, I'm painting now because of you painting. So I think you if I'm painting now, then you got to paint because I'm painting. And I said, yeah, maybe I should. Maybe I should just grab a paintbrush again and no pressure. I'm just gonna paint. I'm not painting to get an army done for an event or an army done for a tournament. I'm not rushing to get into something. I'm not buying up a bunch of models that I don't love because I know that's the hotness or the new meta, and I'm not. That wasn't why I was doing it. I'm gonna paint the dewback because I love dewbacks. I love the way they look on the table. I love the idea of this giant dinosaur charging at you. I could imagine just like real troopers in the real world screaming at fleeing everywhere when this giant thing charges at them. I love the concept of how that all plays out in the universe, and I finished painting it, and I was really happy that it hadn't lost my chops. Humble brag, obviously. I was really happy that it looked table ready, and I said, "Wow, I miss this. I miss posting in the community. I miss talking to people. I miss people saying, what paints did you use?' And I can talk to people who are brand new about the paints that I've used and the techniques that I've used. And now all of a sudden, I'm the same person I was 3 years ago when the game came out. I'm still that relevant in the community. I just felt like I wasn't relevant, anymore in general. I just felt like it was just, I didn't need to do this kind of thing. And those three things, my Legion Academy family kind of keeping me tethered, Jay calling everybody out, telling everybody what it means to be part of this community, and then my buddy Tim saying, "There's no reason why you shouldn't be doing this. You really should be back to what makes you the happiest." And those three things got me back into getting the pikes, got me back into playing, got me back into playing, with my son regularly, got me back into just wanting to play more. I started a group chat where I said, "Hey, who wants to come out to my friend's local store? He owns out in Oakville here, just to play for fun. I can't house you all in my house, but why don't we go to our LGS and we'll play together?" And I
Yep.
was more just jazzed to get the team back together and get the band back together and play again. This is kind of how and this is exactly how I found myself back back in the game. I don't want to. It's not like I left the game or I packed it all up and I put the table away and I walked away. It's my Legion table is always set up in my game room. It's always there. It's always got a terrain on it. It's always waiting for me when
Yep.
I'm ready to go to it. So it wasn't like I walked away, but I just it didn't feel like it was important anymore to stay as involved as I was until I realized how important it really was to stay connected to people like you and not lose those connections that I've nurtured over the last 3 years. So here we are now putting bike faces on those flipping models. I'm losing my mind.
No, I think what you're saying about community is big because we have, as mentioned, we have a really quite an active Discord. I would say. I mean, we don't have the biggest Discord, but what I would say is we have a very active Discord. So the 20 folks hanging out in chat right now are parallel to the folks that we'll see active in Discord, and not every single one of them, but they're big in there. And then people we have on here, or hosting myself and Jason, locals, we're chatting in groups. Like I am in so many groups. I'm trying to follow, consume, listen to all the other podcasts and try to. I think that community thing is super important, and it doesn't. You don't have to be as deep or as intertwined with all of them. You can have that local group chat or that local group of folks. And if that's your network, that's great. If you want to expand out past that, that's super. For me, I do the podcast as much for me as I do for anyone else, right? I like coming on and as I mentioned to you earlier, I was like, I didn't, Jace was probably busy today and I didn't hear back. And I was like, well, I don't know if anybody's coming on here tonight, but like it's not in me not to have the episode. So Chris reached out to Chris.
Yeah.
He was good. He was down. We had talked about doing this. We just didn't set a hard date for it. But I was like, tonight's as good a night as any. Let's get at it. But it's therapeutic for me to come on and talk Legion. I was talking to Shadow Scout during the game. I pre-talked to Brian before the game. I post-talked to Stan and Anthony after the game. I'm always talking Legion, and for whatever reason, either it's what somebody's working on, what they're thinking about, strategies, theories, gripes, terrain, techniques for painting. It doesn't matter. You can find somebody in some element about the game to talk to, and the more elements you're tied to, the more conversations you can have for sure. So, and you made a point about sharing something with somebody new. If you've been playing the game for a week, there's always going to be somebody newer than you. You've been playing it for a day, there's always going to be somebody newer than you. You've been playing it a year, there's somebody older than you. You've been playing 2 years, there's somebody older than you. So not everyone jumped in. And that's one of my first questions when I chat to new people, like, hey, did you play when Tauntauns were crazy? Hey, did you play when standby sharing was in? Hey, did you play when this or XYZ? And it's once you position where people come in, then you just kind of pick up, and it's fun to talk about the nostalgia of what Tauntauns used to be or how bad standby sharing really was. And in a few months' time, we're going to be talking about the pre-Shadow Collective, post-Shadow Collective. And remember when pikes were a pain? Well, look at this new unit that's nearly impossible to put together, or pikes are still the worst, or whatever. It'll be some conversation around talking about that, and I like that. So.
We live in a world right now where we live in a world right now where what was not considered meta, for lack of a better word, or not considered to be the thing you wanted to play 2 years ago, now we're seeing this resurgence in things that weren't on the table, and now they're on the table. So you could have missed a part of history when triple tauntauns, for example, was all the rage, and then they kind of faded away, and now someone's talking about tauntauns again, and how they can four tauntauns now. So it's like even if you miss that part of history, I also feel if I can just add one more thing.
Go ahead.
That I'm a big fan of you like it, you paint it, get it on the table. That's what you want to play. And I grew up in a community where it was very competitive, active, and I always felt I have like tournament anxiety. Am I going to bring the right stuff? Am I going to play the right things? Am I going to be able to compete against what's out there if I'm not playing the things I don't want to play? And now that I've been past that, I'm sure there might be somebody new who's thinking, oh, Is that what I need to buy? I hear this all the time. Hey guys, new to the Facebook group, thanks for inviting me. What should I buy? And I answer the exact same way every time. Rule of cool. Buy what you think you want to see. Buy what you want to paint. It doesn't matter if you don't think that your quadruple tauntaun, rebel commandos fleet trooper list is going to win against a 10 act, droid list kind of thing with the radiation gun. Don't think that way. I thought that way for a very, very long time. I thought that, what if I don't do what I'm supposed to? You're supposed to go meet people, make some new friends, have a blast, play the game, love Star Wars, be 43 years old thinking you're 12 for as long as you can. That's what you're supposed to do. And if you go doing that, you've won. You've totally won. It's not about what you think you need to do. And now I can tell that to somebody coming up. Hey, don't do what I did, or yeah, do what I did. Realize it for yourself, and then come back and go, oh shoot, this is not how I'm supposed to do it. So I like the fact now that I can look behind me and say, I can be that voice to people who are looking for an answer other than, oh, this is the new meta. Go and buy this, go and buy this, go and buy this, go and spend all your money on this, only use this. And then in 3, 4, 5 weeks, the same person, forget that. Now we're doing spider droids, now we're doing snail droids, now we're doing, and the guy who just spent all his money on the thing you just told him to buy now has a bunch of toys that he thinks aren't worth anything anymore. This is not the vibe we want to get in the community. We want to give the vibe that what you bought is always going to be valid because you love it and it's cool, and that's why we're here. So this is what I'm hoping I can give to the newer generation coming up who didn't experience, um, you know, 10 act naked stormtroopers with Palpatine and IRG, or whatever was hot when the game started.
Yeah. Jace, do you remember like when you, well, I mean, you started playing Legion early, but like give me some of remind me of all the archetypes that you've played kind of with with more than like one or two reps, like not the things you've tried, but what's all the things that you've played?
Okay, so the archetypes that I've played more than one or two tries would mostly be things I've taken to tournaments,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
either
Kind of what,
TTS tournaments or in person.
yeah.
So I guess the first one would have been I played a lot of Vader bikes when the game very first came out, when there was no other option.
Mm-hmm.
I played a lot of Veer's Boba when that was the hot thing in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
I played a lot of Luke Sabine together.
Mm-hmm.
And then I played a lot of Rexstar with the Phase 2 gun line. And I played a lot of double AAT. I've played a lot of Maul Staps. And was there anything else that I played? I think those are the main ones. Those are my big ones.
Okay. What about you, Chris? What have you been?
That guard. Oh man. Well, again, I'm probably not going to be the best person to give this answer because I've always been Empire. Always. I bought every faction when it first came out because I wanted everything. And then my son wanted clones, so I got into clones more for him. And I painted up those models. But I've always said Palpatine will be in every list that I play. Full stop. Palpatine will be in every list that I play. That's changed a little bit because I'm realizing that I know I said moments ago about not worrying about being competitive, but as I've been playing more in public against other guys, I realize that short this with a 200 point character, it's a lot of your points getting sucked up into one model. So I tend to stick with the favorites: dewbacks, shore troopers, death troopers, and then it'll either be Krennic or generic commander, and then Op Vader. By
Right.
giving up Palpatine, I still want something Sith. I'm Sith all the way. So my longest running, I think, list has been that version of no Palpatine, but Krennic and Op Vader with Death Troopers, dewbacks, Snow Troopers, and Shore Troopers. And it's funky. but it's fun because I love the way all the models look. I love the way I painted all the models. I love the way they all kind of feel like they belong together in that Tatooine environment. So I only, but I did what Jace did when the game first came out. Our options were limited. You know, you got Vader's bikes because that's all you had to play with. That's all we got. And I'm looking at my models now on my shelf. I think maybe AT ATST Chicken Walkers came out next for
Yep.
the Empire. That was the
Yep.
first kind of big vehicle upgrade that we got.
Hmm.
And then I want to say we were kind of Empire was kind of left alone to fend for ourselves until the Gav tank came out. Maybe like there wasn't a lot that kind of really came out for us, and then all of a sudden you got like the Iden and the
Inferno
Inferno
Squad. And,
Squad,
yeah.
and you got the Death Troopers, and we kind of got dumped on a bunch of things that I wanted to play at all. I wanted to have everything on the table, and I'm sure like many times in our chats, I'm like, guys, how can I get more? How can I get more into this 800 point list? I want more. I want more. And yeah, that's kind of the only real archetype I played was the Vader bikes because that's all we had.
I got two questions for you, and then I got one story that I'm going to briefly share because I just looked at the comments and I saw two people and it reminded me of a conversation we had last night. But you're familiar with Burst of Speed, right? The upgrade. You know about this upgrade?
I understand that it came with Yoda, which I have the mini, but I have not used Burst of Speed
Oh,
yet.
okay. Because
Hmm.
you procked my memory about because I think going back to your I love Palpatine, he needs to be in every list. Palpatine with Burst of Speed, Chris, is like
Real
a,
game.
a game changer. Because if you can just imagine Palpatine moving at speed 3 for 2 times on the Now You Will Die turn, 2 speed 3s, range 2, Now You Will Die. Try it in skirmish against somebody you really don't like because they won't like you when you're done with that. Because Now You Will Dying on the first turn of the game is
Yeah.
an incredible feeling. It works in battle lines or anything that you're close. It's fantastic. I think you'll like it. Something you should try for sure. Um, I also wanted to just sort of ask about because your love of the units that you mentioned in Empire. Have you had a chance to look or have any considerations for Blizzard Force? Because I think
Okay.
that Blizzard Force is pretty fantastic, and as an Empire purist, I think you would thoroughly enjoy what Blizzard Force is going to have to offer for you.
Mm-hmm.
This is my and this is no secret, full transparency. I don't have the mind for tactical strategical gaming the way a lot of you guys do. So for me, it's always been about putting the cool ones on and just running. I'm aggro all the way. You're gonna get all my shit all at once, and if I die next turn, I die. But you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it all. And I love the idea of like the Blizzard Force and these little Force expansion packs, but I don't really understand how they work into a current Empire list that I already have Stormtroopers in and keep it under 800 points. Like what in my list now is going to have to go. The
Right.
Shores, the Death, the Snow Troopers, like the Dewbacks. What's going to have to go so I can get these Blizzard Force in,
Yep.
and then with that, is what's going worth its weight to pay for what you're getting in the Blizzard Force? Maybe bringing Palpatine back. Like, is it worth it? This I don't know because I don't understand
Yep.
the minutia of the new units. Even with the Syndicate, I got them because they're awesome.
Yep.
And anything Darth Maul, I'm all in. I'm
Mm-hmm.
all in on anything Darth Maul. Again, I'm a Sith guy, but I don't really understand how they function as a game mechanic yet. I haven't spent enough time with them, but I'm excited about Blizzard Force. But I don't really know how to utilize them. If
Shameless
that
plug,
if that makes
shameless
sense.
plug. But if you go back and look at some of the more recent Friday night fights, several of them have featured Blizzard Force. And so that might be a nice place just to start. Because, I mean, one of the things
Absolutely.
that probably is just watching somebody else run something so that you can kind of figure out, like, either like, oh yeah, I like that and I do that, or I like that and I do something different, or that's not for me. Like, so watching somebody play a list that's not even in a faction that you like or have an affiliation with, sometimes just reaffirms that, but sometimes opens up that window that you weren't looking through previous, and you're like, wow, I need to try that out. Like for me, Maul as sort of like Anthony. I've seen Anthony play Maul a ton of times. I've talked about Maul a lot. I've seen Maul played in different games, and so I'm starting to warm up to the idea of him possibly being a Force user in a Shadow Collective type Force that I think that I don't previously identify in my CIS play. So that's a great example
But
of
is
just
Maul?
he's in the Shadow Collective as well.
Oh, sorry. Well, no, yeah. So I don't want to derail the show, obviously. But is Maul in the Shadow Collective? Can I now insert him into an Empire list because they're like a gangster affiliate, or he still is only CIS?
Yeah, so he has on the new Shadow Collective cards up near the left hand corner, you'll identify the icons, and that will let you know which forces units can go in. For example, Bosk, who is a previously an
Got it.
Empire only unit, is now eligible to be in CIS. So yeah,
Oh,
um, I'm not sure. I'm
that's
not sure
awesome.
who Stan is
Yeah.
exactly yelling at, but he can clarify. But on the topic of Stan, that was my third point that I was going to make, because you mentioned about talking to people and giving suggestions and then just asking for suggestions. So um, just how this kind of works, and you have to be careful because then you get people yelling at you in chat. Um, uh, fair enough. I see what Stan is quantifying there. So I played Anthony, OS Dad, a few weeks back, and he was wanting to practice the list that he wanted to run for round 5. And so him and I had a game, and I forget. I think I was using the current rounds list, and I played, and I was able to squeak out a victory against him, and then afterwards. It wasn't about like what our things didn't do and how terrible our dice were or good or blah blah blah, but it was about like, hey, what was the thought process with this? That's kind of what I opened up with, and he gave me his thoughts, and I was like, have you thought about this? And we probably spent equally as long chatting about the list post game as the game itself took, and we just created some tweaks and some additions and some efficiencies, if you will. And then to Stan, who I greatly appreciate and enjoy Stan's company in all venues. But Anthony unfortunately took that advice and then played Stan in our round, in his current round, and Anthony was able to. Heavily exploit the additions that we made to his list,
Oh
and
no.
and so it worked out great for Anthony, less for Stan, and then Stan promptly thanked me in a not so nice manner, but it was very nice. I just kid about the suggestions made to Anthony. So I think that it's great to have those conversations with people, and it doesn't come from a place of like you're doing it wrong. But it comes from a place of like, hey, have you tried this? Have you thought about this? What about this? And that translates into why we can't be friends. But that is part of talking Legion. And see, and then promptly from Anthony, 100% great feedback. So you win some and you lose some in every conversation that you have. But the point being is that this is what our community builds, right? These conversations around how to enjoy Legion more. So I'll equal
Yep.
this conversation with Stan, and we'll talk strategy. And the next time these guys face, then Stan will be on the upper hand, and it'll be all fine. So I know Anthony right now is doing me a solid by giving all the intel to his buddy Nick, who I have to play. And Nick's brought a great counter to my list, and I think that's another part of what we kind of have going on in our little group, and every Legion community has this going on, which is a great thing. So it depends on how big
Well,
or broad your group is how much intel you can take in. So
well,
that's it.
I do know that Stan, Sean, and I were talking before the show, and he did mention that he's gonna recommend to you any unit with the word cumbersome in it is the new hotness. That's where you're gonna want to go. Anything with cumbersome.
Yep, cumbersome.
Next time you play Anthony, bring all those cumbersome units, and you'll be just fine.
Yeah. So Anthony pointing out that he was promptly chatting about the game today. So see, there's no secrets in Legion, and once you come up with that, that mindset, then you're free to kind of talk about all things and share and learn from the loss and take away some things from the victories and share those ideas. And I think if you're in
Yeah,
your little collective group and you're willing to share knowledge so that everybody gets better, the next time you play them, you're better for it as well. So yeah.
absolutely. That's great.
Yeah, we put Stan's Tauntauns in timeout this round, so they're actually banned for this round, which is a great segue, I should say. If you guys are cool, I'd like to, just in the interest of time here, can we transition real quickly through a pod update and then jump into roundtable and see if we take a couple calls and maybe we'll have some questions come in for Chris. So
You bet.
all right.
Absolutely.
Okay, so as I forgot to mention too. Let me segue here briefly to this one. So wanted to talk a little bit about the AMG news that we have, and it's fairly limited. But Bryant was able to share. He wanted to share some intel with us, and I also have to mention a piece about the league here. So if you bear with me, so Swoopbike's release date is Friday, the August 19th. That's what I believe it is for us as well. He was just mentioning that who's going to be buying them, and I've seen lots of people, not in a negative way, but basically saying like wondering who's going to get them, how many they're going to get, and I think people are eager to get them. Obviously, they had a little bit of a clarification in the base sizes, so I'm a little less keen on them with the new base sizes, but I'll still likely buy my 3 and assemble and try to give them a shot because I think they're still going to be great. So expect those coming out August 19th. He also wanted to mention, too, that in Brisbane, Australia, this is not AMG news, but this weekend is going to be the first Oceanic League Grand Championship. And this will have with players from 5 states and also New Zealand. And it looks like it's going to be a great ending to the first season. And on the topic of AMG related, with Worlds invites up for grab and truckloads of prizes. So that is cool that we will have Worlds invites going to that side of the world. And hopefully those people who claim them are able to then cash them in and then use them at Adepticon in March. So that'll be super, super fun. So
That's cool.
yeah, and Chronic Canuck is appreciating the conversation tonight, so that's great. And Stryker said he will be getting 2 sets. He'll probably have 2 sets. He'll have them assembled. He'll have them painted before I even unbox mine. I almost can guarantee that because he likes to turn around his pickups real quick. So that's all we got for AMG news. Is pretty, like I said, pretty slow, but expect those coming out Friday. On the topic of getting things, I mentioned last week, but I did get a dynamic exit kit. So I will have some stuff in here to give away, both scenarios and some mall alt arts if you're looking for those. I know they're going to be quite coveted. So look for some of that. I also got word earlier from, and I'll do all our sponsors at the end, but I was speaking to Ben earlier. He is mailing out on Friday to us, and we will have, and Jace, you'll appreciate this because there'll be some goodies in there. We are getting 7 sets of the new alt art cards done by Dice Time. So obviously I'll give Jace and Anthony the set because that's how we do that here. But that also leaves us with several sets to give away, as well as some of the Wave 1 alt arts done up by Dice Time as well. So that'll be super, super fun. Yeah, Stryker mentioning that mall card is exceptionally cool, and that is a really poor shot with the glare. So let me pull this out. I don't know what language this is in. Oh, this is actually an English one. Obviously, you get it in multiple languages. Let me give a quick focus here. Let me grab this. And right there is the really cool mall alt art. So have some of these. So, stay tuned.
Awesome.
Listen to episode whatever, 200 plus, and we'll have some giveaways. So is it 2 per language? 2 per language? I don't think it's 2. I think I get... that's English. I think I get 8. And I already gave one away. In fact, I did a trade, a painted Dianoga for a mall, because, I was gifted the Dianoga, but I gifted the mall right back. I believe you get 8 in each of those. So yeah,
Awesome. That's awesome.
100%. That command card is one of the best alt arts for sure. I really like the pose. So all this to say, leading into, like I said, the round 5, we did the launch last week. If you guys joined us, I just wanted to quickly go through the pods and just let you know kind of who's in here, because it's nice to match up the who's who. So Calico Kid, Terrain Studio, Strange Event, Tyler, and Debaticus. I believe Tyler was playing Calico Kid this evening, and I think Nick, Strange Event, is playing Debaticus right now, so that could be happening, and the only guy left out is me because I'm here. But our pod has kicked off quite a few games. Bobster, Moon, Sean Death, Chronic Canuck, and Eric. I believe we have at least one of them in chat in the form of Chronic Canuck is here hanging out with us. We have Scythe Dog Anthony. Anthony is out till Friday. If you guys didn't know, he smashed his monitor in his move, so he is assured he will be back. But if you haven't played Anthony, that is why he'll be back. Canadian Bear, who is in chat. Dan was in chat earlier, and then Mr. Witty, Jake Witty, 82. Then we have Michael S. Park. So there's Stan, OS Dad, Anthony. He's in chat. Tactical Genius. That's Bernard. He's in chat. And Biggins. So look at that. We got 3 out of 5 there. We got JD, Emmanuel, Kokazula, Birdland, and Justice. Both Justice and Birdland were also in chat. So look at that. Look at our chat showing up and representing round 5 of the league happening right now.
That's great.
Yeah, very, very cool. So again, another community aspect of that. So, all right, folks. Well, we've reached that time where we jump over to the round table, and we'll take a few calls here, if you will oblige us. If you have questions for Chris or Jace, and then you give me a break of talking, you can bug these guys for some questions. Topics for tonight. Let me grab the link here real quick so I can pop this in. Topics for tonight are not inclusive or exclusive to, but can include what's hot, and that can be anything. And it could be really anything, like the sun is hot or something like that. Jace's vacation spot that he went was hot. But if you want to talk about what's hot in Legion, that's fine. What got you into it? Specifically talking about Legion, but I guess I left that open-ended, so you can talk about whatever. Hobby frustrations. Chris had some of those, so if we get some dead air, he can fill us in on his experiments with glue. He came in with an SOS call for, is this glue bad? Yes, it is. I could tell immediately when I saw it, and I just confirmed with him. It's good to have people who got knowledge on such things. So I never asked Jace any glue questions, specifically which glue bottle to grab. Never ask him that. And then do vehicles exist? That seems to be an open-ended question that has multiple answers. And so if you want to tackle that one, that would be also fine. So looks like we got about 20 minutes on the clock. I'll pop the link up if you want to be so brave to come in and chat with us. We can do one at a time here tonight, but everyone is welcome. We'll put you on the timer. Chris, you don't know, but we have an individual named Ryan. He likes to call in. We give Ryan, when he calls in, 45 seconds, and we give everyone else 5 minutes on the clock when they call in. So, we're equal in the distribution, but we just can't tell time that well. So we often do that. So do vehicles exist? This is my favorite. That is also a super, super fun. So I will kick this off as we wait for people to call in. The link is in the chat there, folks. If you want to jump on that, feel free. So the question arises that Ryan has shared that in his local scene, apparently no one plays vehicles. And so he's equated no one playing vehicles to that no one in the world plays vehicles, and has gone as far to say that vehicles don't exist. But if we're really talking about vehicles, I like vehicles. I think they're the best units in the game, and whether they come in support vehicles and or heavy vehicles, I think they're quite prolific. I see in chat that Striker's saying swoop bikes will be the first vehicle in the game, and it will be interesting. So him pointing out that apparently pre-swoop bikes there has been nothing, even though AA5s are going to be probably coupled with them. But while we're on that topic, Chris, what vehicles have you experimented with? You mentioned Gav and ATST. You've played both of those, I assume.
Yeah.
Have you got yourself a lat?
Mainly, I do. I got the lat because Evan using the lat to drop Vader in all through Adepticon was just bananas.
Yep.
So to Ryan's comment, if you don't think there's vehicles out there, watch that, man. Watch that entire Adepticon run of what Evan did with that lap. That was bananas. I really only used the um, ATSTs because I put in the I think it's Weiss with Arsenal. So you had Arsenal 2 plus the 2, and I could fire 4 weapons at the same time. And at the beginning of the game, like Jay said, when we had very
Yep.
little to work with,
Yep.
this was devastating to have all those dice coming at you. Toss a few aims on there, you're re-rolling up to 2 of them. Like, this was ridiculous, and I made sure I had those things in every list because they were just so imposing on the table. But I kind of traded up vehicles for animals. Like I said, dewbacks have become
Yep.
my new what's hot. I love the way they look on the table. I love the idea of this giant, ravenous animal coming at your unit and gonna disperse you and panic you. And so that's kind of the extent of my vehicle.
If I can share something back with you, Chris, and I'm not sure if you know or don't know this, but if you don't know, it's probably going to be pretty eye opening. But you mentioned Weiss and the ATST, and you know that Arsenal 4, when you used him, he was exhaustible, and so you would have to recover in order to. I'm not sure if you're aware, but that has
Right.
now gone away. So now it is 4 weapons every round for free that the ATST can shoot. No recovery. It just shoots 4 weapons a turn.
All right, let's go. Let's go right now.
Yeah.
Hang on. No, forget it. Hang on. We're gonna do it. We're gonna go. We're doing
Yes.
this. Let's go
Okay,
right now.
Imperial
Today.
Hammers Pilot 1, General Weiss the other. Yeah. So that is a
Let's go.
significant upgrade for if you were particularly fond of that.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's
So
wild.
yeah, so it's just 4 every time, no recovery necessary. So and then also gaining
Wow.
field commander is also exceptional. So no longer need a commander with him either. He's now can be your commander for the army.
The first time I ever saw this was on a Friday night fight. You were using the Republic. I don't know what it's called. It's got the 2 little prongs coming out of the front of it, and or maybe you're using the droid,
Oh, the
droid
saber
one.
tank.
But either way, the saber tank. Yeah, your commander. Your commander either was Jace's or yours, Sean, but your
Yeah, probably
commander
wasn't
was
me.
the
Maybe it was
pilot,
Jace.
and
Yeah,
that's
maybe it
I'm
was.
like, what's
Yeah.
going?
Probably me.
It was probably Jace. I was like, what's going on here? Like, how is the commander inside the ship? My mind was blown when I saw that. So
Yeah, field commander
that was a
is
fun moment
yeah.
for me.
That's been a great addition to the game. But and I think vehicles in general have really found their way into the game. So Anthony should come on and tell us all about his ATST exploits, because Anthony right now is running his ATST in the current round. So and I think. I don't know. I'm not sure if I ran into any other AT. Who did I play ATST? Oh yeah, Jace. I played against other Jace like 3 times in the last couple weeks, and he was running an ATST in his list as well, and just trying to ignore it. And I ignored Anthony's ATST as well, because that's I know people think with the white dice and it's not going to last forever with all the impact and the critical. It's still 11 that you got to chew through at a full armor vehicle. They're pretty commanding. Their ability to just shoot things in cover that other things can't normally see. They're fantastic. They're an imposing presence on the table. I'm again not knowing how much you have heard or in the news, coming down the pipe, Chris, but there's going to be a world where eventually we're going to get a force where Chewie is going to be able to commandeer an ATST for the rebels. And we're going to have an incognito ATST, so an ATST that effectively can't be shot until it's or seen until it's shot. So, oh, cool! Anthony took the bait. I meant the invite, and is calling in here to tell us all about the ATST. So, let me get Anthony in here 1 second here.
There you go.
Let me grab Anthony. Anthony's on the screen.
Can,
There we go. Anthony will be able to see us. Anthony, come tell us all about
there we go. There we are.
all about your exploits with the ATST. 1 second here. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Hey, we got you.
You got me?
Hey,
Hey.
what's going on?
Yeah, I was after the advice there Sean and I had the other day. I put the Hammers pilot on the ATST. I found it made a big difference surging to that hit. Hard to get the range with that last weapon anyway, so that made a big difference on the ATST. And with the stand there, I'm playing Iden triple ISF. I infiltrated everything up behind a bank and just kind of waited for his 16 activations to come to me.
Anthony, I'm not sure if you caught that out, but as soon as I added you to the chat, Stan mentioned in chat that he's leaving now. So I think you're triggered some PTSD there for Stan. So
Sorry, Stan.
Stan, always a good sport. So yeah, no, but how that came to be is Anthony and I were playing, and you were running. What pilot did you have? Did you have Vice on your pilot?
I had Vice on at that time, yeah.
And he was pumping my Magna Guard pretty heavy with that, but he was rolling a pile of surges, right? And I was just saying that, like, I don't think that how you're piloting this with your list that you really need to have the Arsenal 4. Like, he wasn't maximizing the efficiency of that, and given how and this is the second time we played, so I kind of was getting a feel for the style. I just made the suggestion of like, hey, if you could just convert all of these surges to hits whenever you shoot them, and you want to go down to 3 weapons or 2 weapons, I think you're going to find more offensive output in this. And we were able to shave a few points here and there, and we dropped a couple recon intels off his infiltrating units because really the infiltrate was better than the recon intel, and is able to shave a few points here and there. And we just made small tweaks and really didn't change fundamentally the list, but I'm glad it's working out for you for sure. So, yeah, no, that's cool, and I'm glad to see you running an ATST because I heard those vehicles don't exist, so that's cool.
No, it's a fun list, and I'm enjoying it. Bernard and I started a game there last night, and we had to quit around turn 2, but we're scheduled to finish it there next Monday.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and that's kind of the beauty of the league, right? Where you have your pod mates, you can just, if you do need to pause for whatever reason, just pick that up, and you got your month timeline to finish that up. So, and then Anthony, just because you're on here now, and I'm interested. I assume that you shared all the intel that I shared with you to Nick to counter intel me. So. I'm quite interested to know what he thinks about all that counterplay.
Yeah, I told him you were scared, so
okay.
He's feeling good.
Okay, I like that. So you're gonna kill him with overconfidence. I got it. So I'll play that up. So as long as Nick doesn't watch this episode,
lull him into us.
Really scared.
Yeah.
No. Just for context,
looking forward to the game with you.
Yeah. Well, just for context, he's bringing triple ion snows, double lat with shells, triple flamer snows in addition to the 3 ions, all versus my B1. So yeah, my tank. So tank doesn't love ion, but I do have 5 PK droids, which will eat up those ion tokens, hopefully. So. Yeah, no, that's the great thing, and in fairness, Nick doesn't know who he's going to be against, and he doesn't know which lists, so it's not like he teched against me or anything like that. So, just sometimes that happens where you get the pull. So, Stan's 16 Rebel list is while maybe it didn't work out great up against the Infiltrate, is potentially pretty scary if he gets the right pull for missions. So, trying to deal with 16 activations is a bit of a tough one. So.
Yeah, that was daunting.
16
activations. I was pretty scared of that.
Yep. Stan went for the max activation counted with 16. Wow. So, yeah, that's.
I can barely get to 9x. 16. Holy smokes!
Yeah, that's where I was sitting.
That's
9.
wild.
Yeah.
When you play a 9-act versus 16-act list, at some point it almost feels like the game is turn-based. Like, all right. You just do all your things, and then when you're done, tell me, and I'll go again. So, but
it feels like you're playing against 2 different people. It's like two against 1.
Yep, no, for sure. So, Justice pointing out that he feels like there's a lot of vehicles in this league. Well, Anthony's got a vehicle in his list. I have a vehicle in mine, and Nick, who I'm playing, has 2 in his. So, between the three of us, there's 4 vehicles. So I guess vehicles do. Stan pointing out that he could go up to 17 if he goes naked ATRTs. So there's that. So don't underestimate the wicked kick, Stan.
Oh
the
my
wicked,
God.
The wicked kick of the RTs is good. So, yeah. But no, that's
wild.
good. So
That's
Anthony,
wild.
you got 2 games. Well, effectively 1.5 out of the way already. What do you have left to face in the group that you got? Do you know the lists?
Yeah, I got Michael there with his Fluttercraft. I haven't played Fluttercraft before, so that'll be interesting.
Yep.
Any tips on that, Sean?
Yep, sure do. Stay as far away from them as possible and shoot them down before they reach you. That is all.
Okay.
Sound advice, Sean. Sound advice.
Yep.
And roll crits.
I mean, that's always
And roll
recommended.
crits.
Anthony can also probably feel a little bit of Shadow Scout's pain because the last game I played against Anthony, I think I was actually worse than I was last night against Shadow Scout. They were really bad against Anthony. So by really bad, I mean really good. So.
What did Anthony say? What did Anthony say there? Sorry, a crit? What's that? What's a crit? I don't know anything about those, unfortunately.
Well,
I hear you.
If you get the new swoop bikes, they apparently have a defensive surge to crits. So you got both offensive and defensive crits to roll potentially. So yeah,
I'm buying them up. I'm buying them all up on Friday. Look out.
Yeah, Striker pointing out that he says shoot them. That's the advice he has for Fluttercraft. Dan, thanks for the congratulations. Appreciate that. And Jake said he's got 4 vehicles in his pod, 2 lists without vehicles. So I think vehicles are. If you are not anticipating running into vehicles, and I'm not saying that you're doing it wrong, but I think you're better to hedge your bet that you're going to run into vehicles more often than not in the current. Not even meta in the current game. I just think that there's such a proliferation of vehicles at this point. You got to have some sort of preparation for them. Not necessarily have to kill them, but you have to anticipate that they're going to be there. So whether it's lats, fluttercrafts, tanks of various forms, even the ISPs and spiders,
Are you gonna be now trying to build armies that are impact weapon heavy or ion heavy because the fear that you have this armor that you now have to deal with, and is that the new counteract to the vehicle?
Well, I'm going to puff my chest up here a little bit and say I don't fear armor. I just bring the armor. My counter to armor is bring armor, to be perfectly honest.
Enough.
But to answer your question,
In the form of spiders?
In the form of ion spiders. So absolutely, yes. The answer was unequivocal yes to all the things you said, Chris. But no,
okay.
I just think that I don't think that impact is a little bit tough to get in mass quantities. I feel like critical is something that you can find a little bit more of. I think that ion is still not heavily popular in the game. Like I just think that ion spiders are the most efficient ion weapons to bring for sure, but I don't think you're finding that. Like if you're a GAR player, you're probably just going with large dice pools and hoping to roll, above average crits. But with the dice pools that the GAR put out,
makes sense.
I mean, average crits is almost better than most impact weapons at that point, right? You're rolling 13, 14 dice. The chances of rolling 3 crits is pretty good. So I think they got the rockets are coming back in the game. I think Magna Guard rockets, GAR rockets still feel pretty good. Shells on vehicles, as I said, more vehicles coming in the game. I mean, Anthony, you don't really have a lot of anti-armor really baked into your list, but you got your ATST, which is not really an anti-armor vehicle. It's kind of more anti-infantry, but when you got to spin it around and put an impact shot in, you can do it with that guy.
That and the ISF with marksman and critical.
Yeah, exactly. So again, critical and then fixing dice into crits is almost like but you have to have the ability to either have a big enough dice pool or have some sort of dice manipulation. And I think that's generally enough to keep armor honest. Or you just go the classic, I'm not going to shoot your armor. Like in our game, I don't think I fired any shots at your ATST. I worked
right.
on everything around that, right? Because at a certain point when you start mitigating activations and the armor goes kind of out of turn or out of sequence, that can be kind of a counter armor play too. So, yeah, there's lots of fun things in the game. So bringing armor is not like an auto win, and not having armor is not an auto loss. And but I do think that you just need to account for it, and however that accounting works, whether it's run and hide or face head on. Zenga said he runs
Sure.
into everything, so I mean he better bring some tools if he's going to be running headlong into the armor. So
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, no, for sure. Tom Walker says, on the subject of armor, bang for buck, are you going ATRTs or Fluttercraft? Well, let's give it a quick spin around here. Jace, what are you doing? What are you saying? What's your advice?
Oh man, I love the Fluttercrafts, but like when I've played them, they've done terrible, and when I played against them, they've done amazing. But I'd probably take the ATRT just because it fits how I like to play better.
Okay. Stock standard, get good advice applies also there,
Yeah.
Jace. So just get good.
Yeah.
Get good.
Anthony, what are you thinking? And whether you're, I guess you haven't played against them, but in terms of fear, would you fear the unknown Fluttercraft or the ATRT? What scares you a bit more?
Yeah, probably the unknown Fluttercraft, I would say. A little familiar with the ATRTs, but the Fluttercraft, I just don't know how they play yet. So that would be my...
Yep. I think, Tom, I would also probably go in the Fluttercraft category, mostly because I think the speed of the Fluttercraft, the invincibility to range 1 and melee makes them exceptionally good. The ability to overrun, the ability to drop bombs, apparently magic bombs over melee that never hurt your own guys. I think the displace potential for all of those things, I think the Fluttercraft are more scary. In terms of living out the turns, I think the Fluttercraft coming in basically a triad makes them have a little bit more staying power than RTs. I feel like RTs comes in 1s and 2s more often than not. I feel that people typically separate them as well so that they kind of cover more area but present a little less of a unified front. Versus Fluttercraft coming at you a lot more strong-sided, and you have to deal with them all at once. So for all those reasons, I think Fluttercraft is where I would say it comes in, but that's my limited experience and narrow view. So, I mean, that's the beauty of Legion. Everybody's got an opinion, and everybody's got an experience, and the experience and the opinion don't always line up, but sometimes they do. So you just got to take in all the intel and apply your, as Chris said, play what looks cool kind of thing. So Fluttercraft look cooler than ATRTs for that respect as well. So oh, apparently there we go. Ringing endorsement. I'll just take that commission, Tom. It's the trainstudio2019 at gmail.com. Send that commission check over this way. So appreciate that. So awesome. Well, fellas, kind of reaching the tail end of that. I don't know if did we get into what hots, or did we get into any of these hobby frustrations? Chris, you want to give us your quick story about glue? And I don't know how many glue bottles you're up to at this point, but I think you got your pikes glued together. Sticky tack. I'm not sure what you resulted to in the end here. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I it was when I made the when I sounded the alarm, lit the beacons, and I hoped that the other
Gundor
community
answered, by
would
the way.
see the
Gundor did
beacons.
answer.
I needed aid. Gondor answered. They did. They answered in spades. I went from having glue that had turned yellow, and I did not realize that the yellowing of the glue made it essentially just snot.
Sticky
At that
water.
point, it was not going to do anything. Sticky water. I went to Blue Cap Gorilla Glue, which is easy. It's runny, very similar to Crazy Glue. That wasn't working. I went to Crazy Glue.
Yep.
That didn't work, even though Bob had said it worked for him kind of in a pinch at a tournament. So I thought, okay, I'll grab some Crazy Glue. I used the yellow stick glue that grade 3s have in class. I used Elmer's glue that you put on with a popsicle stick. And then I finally got to Blue Cap Gorilla Glue gel. And that, I think the thickness of the gel gave it the parts enough time to set. They kind of held themselves into play like putty almost. And a buddy of mine, Andrew, also chimed in because I put the all call out. We went to Gondor, but we also went to everybody else in Middle Earth, and they all said that, hey man, blue cap or green cap gel has never steered me wrong. So at the end of the day, everything got assembled using green cap gel, and I don't know enough about glues. I know some glues actually there's a chemical reaction that melts the plastic to each other, and that's why that glue works. And I just assumed Gorilla would work for everything because it always worked on my original core kit, but it was an adventure. It was 3 trips to Home Hardware. It was my wife saying to me on more than 2 occasions, maybe this hobby is not the hobby for you anymore. It was many models being thrown.
White towel was going in.
Agony on all fronts.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it got to a point where she would just look up at me, and I'd be like, I know, I gotta make this work. I gotta beat this Balrog. I gotta beat it.
I was going to tell you that the first glue that you had you just got more of that's the glue that I use religiously. You just pop that on with some accelerant and just move on.
Yeah.
It's instantaneous bond, but that advice is no good now. I am glad that you stopped short of Scotch tape, so that's also good because that would have been sufficiently awkward. But
I was licking them, like back in the day. I'd lick one part and just try to get them to stick together, and that didn't work either. So I was gonna quit and take up like Scrabble or something. This could have been the end of my miniature adventures entirely that afternoon. So, but here we are, full syndicate built, and I'm on the 200th episode talking about it.
Well, and Anthony came also a day late and $1 short with his advice. But if you didn't catch that up in the chat. He was mentioning about leaving a part of the pike head on the sprue and then assembling the other 2 pieces while that's held in place and then clipping off the balance of that. So that's how he went about doing that. So so thanks for nothing, Anthony.
When you get to that level that level of build shenanigans, that's out of control. That was happening with like droids and with a lot of the Marvel Crisis Protocol figures. Like, okay, leave her wrist and her shoulder on the sprue, insert the forearm, then throw everything into the air. And if something lands when it's together, that's how it's going to fit. Like it was out of control building these stupid models. I'm not equipped for this emotionally. Mentally, it broke me down.
Yeah, go that way. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Look at that. Anthony's not only got them assembled, he's already got them based up. And what kind of tufts you got on there? Anthony?
I love that
green stuff.
Yeah,
world.
that pink.
Okay,
I was
some
gonna
green
say.
stuff world ones. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, the local store just got them in.
Okay, fair enough. You should steal the local store.
Feels like a
Fallujah grass too. Just a nice little balance of that. I was just wondering the alien. What's the little tuft that you got there, kind of beside the pike leg?
That's shrubbery, they call it. Tall shrubbery. Yeah.
Cool. I like the look ties into the
Everything's backwards here. Sorry.
No, that's fair. Yeah, we can't quite. Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah, that is cool. I like.
Great
look,
job,
though.
Man.
Yeah, nicely done.
Very, very. I love it when alien characters have alien bases. There's just the whole beauty about Star Wars is this endless amount of alien creatures and races, and there's so many different things living out there in the stars that you want those bases to look so foreign. I love that a lot.
Yep. No.
Yeah, I like the color of the pikes. I wanted to put a little extra color in there. It just kind of tied it all together.
Looks good.
Yep.
I'm gonna start running some Shadow Collective here pretty soon. I was just gonna wait until they came into the league so that I could actually both play them on table and digitally at the same time. So, but I got my list steered up. So I'm gonna move away from bullying people and move more into the demoralized world. So, yeah. It's just
I've heard a bit about this.
Just making friends in Legion is that'll be our next line of T-shirt. Just making friends in Legion. So just
yeah.
we do appreciate that. So
One
Chris,
tabling at #1 tabling at a time.
it's absolutely correct. So yeah, tabling is so hard in Legion. It's a rare occurrence. So
It is.
yeah. I'm not sure if you guys quite
Yeah.
caught down in the corner here, but I put the Yeti there just because I figured that vehicles were about as much in existence as the Bigfoot. So just to put that down there for Ryan
Yeah,
tonight.
fantastic.
For sure. Stan says such a giver. I mean, you know me, Stan, always giving things away, except for free wins.
Wait, Stan left. I thought he left. What's he doing back here?
This is Stan's second account, so he came back in to see if Anthony was still here. Surprise, he is. For sure. All right, well, I do appreciate you coming in and hanging out with us, Anthony, filling the spot and talking a little bit about Legion and all things, and Chris hanging out with us for the balance of the evening here, talking about coming back in. So don't be a stranger, Chris.
Absolutely.
I know that digital Legion's not your thing, but if you want to come back in soft approach, you could always join in some of the Discord chats as we watch other people play digital Legion and give our armchair quarterback advice to all the things that are going on. That's always a super fun element of that. Anthony was jumping in. He came in and watched me play Shadow Scout the other night for a bit. Stan was in there. Brendan was in there. So even if it was just a pickup game, we still got people hanging out and live streaming games, which is super fun. So hopefully we can count on you to be in there. And if you just come in and ask questions, that's cool too. So no, there's all kinds of room for that. So.
Oh yeah, you know me. I'm never short of questions.
That's fine. I mean, that's the beauty, right? There's lots of people in there to answer and giving varying opinions if it's an opinion-based question. So that's part of the fun. Yep. So awesome. All right, folks, we'll leave you there. Yep. Jason and I will get out early for a change. Anthony's even farther behind at Atlantic time there, so he's got to get off to bed. It's a work week, Anthony. Don't be staying up too late. You got to sell them tractors tomorrow.
No, I'm on vacation this week. So.
That's why you're asking me if you want to play tonight.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I will tell you this because I don't know if anybody in my league group's going to need to have a game tomorrow night. But if I don't have one scheduled with the league group and you want a practice game, I'll play tomorrow.
All right, I'll let you know if I'm freed up.
Sure. Yeah, pencil me in there for sure. So, and then Chris, like I said, come join us anytime. You're
Them's be fighting words.
Yeah, well, it's fair. It'll be just for funsies. So, and Chris, you're on the Discord now, right? We got you all hooked up. You're in, and you can you can track us down. Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll go check that out. And that goes for everybody. We got an open Discord there. We invite lots of people. So, all right, folks, I will say goodbye to these guys. I do want to rip through the sponsors real quick. So you guys can stick around for that, and I can end the show, or you can pop off. That's cool. If you guys are all right with that. All right, here we go. I'll hit them. So we want to make sure that we thank Deep Cut Studios for the sponsorship of our gaming mats. Do greatly appreciate that. You'll see them each and every Friday that we have Friday Night Fights. We want to thank Legion Terrain for the donation. We got several tables donated by them. Great looking terrain. You guys can see it. Pre-paints on our tables, but you guys can get your own if you want to paint it yourself. We want to thank Bryant at Phoenix Games in Australia for both the news contributions as well as the donations, and of course coming on and casting Friday Night Fights with us. We want to thank Dice Time. They have some upcoming alt arts coming to us, and we'll be doing some giveaways there. But in the meantime, if you want to know or you don't know who Dice Time is, go have a listen to the channel. We've got a bunch of episodes uploaded there, waiting for the Gen Con episode to drop. As well, we'll thank the Train Studio, that guy. That's where we play each and every week. That's where we broadcast from, and that's where we do a lot of the terrain work. And finally, or I guess we got a couple here left, tellmetheodds.net. If you want to know if those dice odds were average, you can go check that out. Michael's done a great job putting that quick tool together. Super fun and easy to use. And if you go there to figure out if your odds were not average after, you can thank Michael for that as well. Gamers Grass for the sponsorship here at the Train Studio. We have a ton of giveaways. We haven't done a giveaway for Gamers Grass in a while, so please remind me next week. I will do one of those. Get some toughs out there, and you guys can get them on your bases, since we were talking a little bit about bases. And back to basics is the acrylic sponsor that we have here. Helps me out in the studio tremendously with the racks and organization, as well as making a contribution to our wall. So you guys will see that on the Friday Night Fights studio. All right, guys, thanks for watching.